We're taking you live now to Brisbane, where Treasurer Josh Frydenberg is speaking. Let's listen in.
The projects in cooperation with them. And the asset recycling program was successful, as you know. Our focus now is sitting down with premiers and treasurers and infrastructure ministers at the state level and at the federal level to swap notes, to align those project timetables, to ensure that there are no capacity constraints in getting the right skills or getting the right equipment or getting the right materials, and to ensure that those projects are implemented as promised. Look, Queenslanders will make their own minds up about, and the Queensland government and the opposition in Queensland will make their own minds up about their priority projects. What I can say to you is that we're investing heavily here in Queensland, both at the local congestion busting projects but also some of the other major projects across the state.
How confident?
So the flooding issue, Treasurer, will the federal government be contributing money to the rectification works, and if so, how much?
Well, we're not picking up the bill for what is a state responsibility. The problems in relation to cladding have been a product of a failure of compliance and enforcement at a state level. This is a state issue. I mean, it's a fundamental business of state governments to ensure the safety of their buildings, and the Australian people would expect that being a state responsibility, it's carried out appropriately by state governments. What we have offered to do at the federal level, through Karen Andrews as the relevant minister, is to set up a task force to see through the recommendations from that report that has been discussed by building industry ministers. That offer is on the table. It was offered in February and it will be offered again when the ministers next meet.
They're saying that if they don't get federal funding, that they're going to have to put an increase on a building limit. What do you make of that warning?
Well, the state shouldn't burden shift what is their responsibility. There are some things that are federal responsibilities and there are others that are state responsibilities. The safety of buildings is a state responsibility, and the problem with cladding has come from a lack of compliance and enforcement at a state level. So I say to the states, look in your own backyard, make sure it's fixed, deliver the services that the people of your state expect and deserve, and don't look to the federal government to solve what is a state problem.
How confident are you with your prepared legal defence with regards to the Hungarian citizenship in the High Court ruling?
These issues were dealt with comprehensively through the last Parliament, and the Coalition is confident that none of its members or senators have issues in that regard.
The gentleman who's preparing the defence, he's an interesting chap, a denier of the Holocaust, I believe. What are his motives, do you think?
Well, Holocaust denialism is appalling. No one should deny what was an appalling and tragic event in world history. And it wasn't just the Jewish people who were the victims of the Holocaust. It was many other minority groups. It's a tragic period in world history. It should never be forgotten nor forgiven. And what we need to do is understand as Australians that our people not only lost their lives in the Holocaust, but our people lost their lives fighting fascism and Nazism and defending the reality that is our democracy and the freedoms and the values that we hold dear. So I have no time, nor should anyone have any time, for people who deny what is the most tragic event in world history.
Just finally, Treasurer, the Grattan Institute's warning that the health system is facing an impending crisis, they've called it, if there's not a reform on private health. Firstly, what do you make of the state of the private health system, and what will the government do to prevent these crises?
Well, as Coalition members, we firmly believe in having a strong public and private system, whether it's in education or in health. And that is why we have supported the private health insurance system, and that's why 13 million Australians have taken up private health insurance. Now, the Labor Party went into the last election promising to cut private health insurance. We have committed and will continue to do so, support private health insurance. So our focus is on delivering the services and the quality of services to the Australian people in the health system, and there have been a number of reforms that has made access easier for young people into private health insurance and made it easier for people in regional communities to also access private health insurance. Thank you.